The Two and Out CFL podcast with Travis Currah and Sheldon Jones starts now.
And here we are at the end of week 8 of the 2025 CFL season. It's just flying by on the heels of that Sunday nighter between the Ticats and the Lions. Man, it was good to sit down on a Sunday night and watch some football. But Sheldon Jones, on Saturday, it was the Stadnek Golf Invitational, raising money for CFL fans fight cancer. Will benefit a Winnipeg-based cancer charity this year. And your outfit right now, wow. As soon as you popped up for the show, I'm a big fan of those threads. Those would have looked good on the course, my man.
They did. I got, this is a nice shirt. Got it on sale. This is the nice hat that I got from the Riders, $50 smoke voucher, I guess. Oh, as I go out of focus. Perfect. We had a great time. Obviously this year, my dad's been battling cancer, so this has been a big thing for me this year. And so we had 12 golfers in Regina. We had 3, I think, in Calgary, and we've one yet to go tomorrow in Vancouver Island, I believe. So we had fun. I finished, middle of the pack, plus 29.
So for a Sheldon Jones score, how is a plus 29 on the course for the day?
Well, I certainly don't golf enough to know what my handicap or what even a handicap is. But last year I shot plus 45, so I shaved quite a few off my rounds there.
For golfing once a year, I'd say that's pretty good.
Well, and I had 2 pars.
Really?
2 pars, which surprised the heck out of me. A few like really good drives. I had this one drive that it sounded perfect, like that, just perfect ting, and then it like scooted across the ground like 10 yards. It was everyone. There was quite the laugh in our foursome. I can't remember if we were the Putt Pirates or the Dirty Divots. Those were the 2 names that we went with, but it was great. In the end, after all the total and the sponsors and everyone like that, we actually were over 5,000 raised just for this one day. So yeah, it was pretty incredible. Lots of amazing people who sponsored everyone, and I think Dave Stadnek, it was almost $100 for, I think he lost like 15 or so balls. He had a rough round, but that's what we were there for. We were there to raise money, so it was great.
Man, that's awesome. Just fans getting together, making good things happen, and almost raising $5,000 for CFL fans fight cancer. That is so that's awesome. And you know what, to start the show with that makes me feel really, really good here. So let's get with the Montreal Alouettes here, beating the Calgary Stampeders 23-21, blowing my pick'em out of the water on Thursday. You always love to see that. But last week, you remember Montreal was trailing Toronto. They came back. They got it done. Montreal was trailing Calgary here. 9 points in the fourth quarter, shutting out the Stamps in the fourth quarter for a very big reason that we'll get to. But either way, Montreal getting a big win on the road. That's big for them.
Oh, huge. And against, the team that we were all starting to say was the best in the league. I know, there were some things that happened that kind of led to it, like you said, but a little bit of a bounce back game from McLeod Bethel-Thompson. He was able to, like, the stats aren't jumping off the page at you, but he was able to obviously lead them to victory. So, hey, you love to see it if you're a fan of another Western team other than the Calgary Stampeders, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's good for him to get himself a victory under his belt, because since winning the Grey Cup with Toronto in 2022, there hasn't been very many victories in the CFL under MBT's watch. Last year in Edmonton, we know how that went. He returned to the league after a year in was it the UFL, the XFL? I don't even really know what's happening. One of them. And he came back despite throwing over 300 yards for many of the games, losing in walk-off fashion, 3 straight games, losing 2 games this year starting for the Alouettes. But now Davis Alexander on the 6-game injured list, so the Alouettes are going to have to string together some victories with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And now that Toronto has a victory under their belt, the Ticats continue to win. The Alouettes are going to want to still have some distance between those behind them, or at least still be in the hunt for that home playoff game. But early on in this one, McLeod Bethel-Thompson gets intercepted by who else in the Calgary Stampeders but Adrian Green. What a season he is having for the Stamps. Unfortunately, this would only be the beginning of their injury problems in this one. Adrian Green gets hurt on that play, has to leave the game. He doesn't return after that play in the first quarter. The Stamps capitalize. Vernon Adams Jr., the Stamps, they want to make teams pay by scoring points off of turnovers. A few plays later, Dedrick Mills is into the end zone and the Stamps take a lead there. But what a turn of events. Bittersweet for the Stamps, getting the turnover, getting the touchdown, but also losing Adrian Green in the process.
Yeah, like you said, he's been having just an unreal start to the season, and one of the major reasons why Calgary's defense has been so elite and being able to take the ball away from the other team. It was kind of the perfect start that the Stamps are looking for. It's just they kind of weren't able to roll with that momentum.
Well, and you know what? The good start continued until about the fourth quarter. The Alouettes, they're able to respond with a field goal, and then Dominic Rhymes is in the end zone for a 33-yard touchdown. The Stamps are up 13-3, and then actually the very next drive, the Alouettes go 8 plays, 77 yards. Cole Speaker scores the touchdown, and it's 13-10 Montreal. So you could tell it was just two teams just dueling and having a really good game at this point. So at the half, Montreal actually had the lead, 14-13. It was going to be a tight second half, and the Stamps started that second half great. Dedrick Mills back into the end zone. A 68-yard drive for the Stamps. It is 21-14 Stampeders. And if you were keeping score, that was the last points the Stampeders would score in this game. So it just went to show that, Vernon Adams Jr. on pace for a really good season. They start to throw the MOP talk out there. I kind of get worried when we start throwing that out there because we've seen how things have gone over the past few seasons. It ends up becoming a bit of a jinx. Maybe we should save this talk for like October or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of also threw that around for Kenny Lawler, and he hasn't really been doing anything the past couple games. Probably because I had him in fantasy. But yeah, no, it's we're going to talk about it here, but Vernon Adams gets injured, and it just kind of goes to show that I think a lot of people were thinking that Calgary was going to be a little bit better with Vernon Adams Jr. there. Like he was going to maybe get them over the hump a little bit, but I don't think many people expected to see this much production from not only the offense, but the defense. And it just kind of goes to show what kind of leader he has been. And unfortunately for the Stamps, after he does get injured, PJ Walker isn't really able to do anything. So, looks like Vernon's going to be okay. He's I think they said he's already got the green light to practice. So, but he did look good. He looked like he was really upset that he wasn't in there, and it kind of crushed me actually, just seeing how crushed he was, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to feel for the guy. These guys are competitors, and that they never want to watch the game from the sideline, and they put so much pressure on themselves. And I think VA's at that point where he's been kind of rejected around the league. Now he's with a team that wants him, and he puts all that pressure on himself, and then gets knocked out of the game, not under his control. But things did kind of fall apart for the Stamps all at once. They were threatening for at least some more points on the board at the end of the fourth quarter. Dedrick Mills fumbles the ball. Lawal Ugawak forces it. Darnell Sankey recovers it. And while the Alouettes weren't able to do anything with that, early in the fourth quarter, they pull within 4. And you said it. Vernon Adams Jr. gets hurt on that next drive, and it kind of did look kind of innocent. Kind of had the arm out, and he kind of got hit by 2 guys at once, but I'm guessing it's the arm on the helmet. He was wobbly getting up. He had some spaghetti legs, so they had to take him out of there, and feeling the emotions, getting it upset on the bench. And that's football. That's the CFL too, because these strongest teams that we've seen over the past few years, you need to have experience behind your number one quarterback to win games and to win Grey Cups. And I think maybe that might be a weakness on this Calgary roster. Just not much experience in the CFL behind Vernon Adams Jr.
I know PJ Walker I don't know his actual stats, but I know he kind of lit it up in the XFL or UFL or whichever one he was in. But, and I think a lot of fans last year really wanted to see him get into a game near the end of the year just to see kind of what he could do. They weren't able to do that. So I think they kind of had a little bit of higher hopes, but just in the last couple weeks in the season, we've had 4 of our starting quarterbacks miss time or leave games with, concussion type injuries. And like you said, this did look very innocent. And I didn't think just the force of a forearm on a helmet would be enough, kind of. But, brains are finicky, and you never know maybe it was like a stinger, maybe it wasn't actually a concussion, but it just kind of, he had those effects, so we don't know. But like you said, having a viable backup quarterback, it's always kind of been important in the CFL. Even back to the days of like '89 when you had Kent Austin and Burgess on the same team. Like you need to sometimes have that, because a lot of times these players are getting hurt. That could be the Achilles heel if, God forbid, Vernon Adams does miss significant time in the Stampeders this year.
And I glossed over it earlier in this game. Like, it's a tough one for the Stampeders. When you're losing Adrian Green, you're losing the number 1 overall pick, Canadian Damian Alford, who's been on fire in the first quarter, and you lose your starting quarterback. So no disrespect to the Montreal Alouettes, but the Stamps came out of this game. They came out hurting. Yeah,
it's just, and teams have to take advantage of that. You don't want to see players going down, but when star players or even rookie players who are playing like star players go down, you need to be able to attack that perceived weakness with having the backup in there. And late in the game, Montreal was able to do that.
Yeah, and they went and they took advantage. McLeod Bethel-Thompson, 30 of 40 for 280 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Sean Thomas Erlington, he did leave the game for a little bit here, 12 carries for 41 yards. So the stats do say that other than that Ottawa game, the Stamps have been good against the run, and this game was no different. But the Owls just stayed in there. They stayed scrappy. And, a winning field goal from Jose Maltos. Was it a 57-yarder? 5 for 5. And
longest kick in Montreal history.
That's crazy. So,
yeah.
Okay, so the stat sheet says 58. I did think on TSN they said 57. Yeah. But anyway, there hasn't been a kick longer than 55 yards in Alouettes history until Thursday night's game at McMahon Stadium. So that is a big performance from the kicker.
No doubt. And with the kickers that Montreal has had, I'm just so surprised by that number. But Jose Maltos definitely, right now, I'd say he's probably the special teams player of the year. Like he's money. He's perfect. I know a certain team that has a lot of receivers and is having an issue with kicking, and I'd certainly make a trade if that could happen to get that guy in.
Hey, don't tell Edmonton fans about trading stars for kickers.
Yeah, that's fair. That is certainly fair. But I'm willing to risk it right now. No, Jose Maltos has been awesome. I know a lot of the joking about the global players are just kickers, but like this guy is like he's become a legitimate. He's the best kicker in the league right now, and it's great to see.
Hey, you know what? There's actually just a hell of a crop of kickers right now. I don't know if we can call Maltos the best. Can we?
I'm calling him the best. I'm
wow.
sure people love it, but I'm calling him the best.
Because I don't think Sean White or Mark Leggio have missed a kick this year.
True. Okay. Fair.
There's just some good kickers now. Yeah.
I guess the only other real person I was kind of thinking, and that I deserve that for not thinking about Sean White and Leggio too. But I kind of, in the past, few years, I've kind of just been hearing that how Paredes is the best kicker in the league and all that, and I don't think he is anymore. And so I think that's kind of where my head was going there. But yeah, Sean White and Leggio and.
Oh, you were just trying to bury it in our Calgary fans' faces, I think.
Why not? We were supposed to be able to enjoy it a little bit longer than we did, so I have to get my shots in when I can.
Okay, so then I look at the Stamps, and what really impressed me about Montreal here, the Stamps were able to run the ball really well early in the first half, and maybe that all changed when VA got hurt, because the Alouettes had to respect, obviously, the QB. They had to respect Dedrick Mills. It's tough to do it all at once. But when VA goes down, I think the Owls were able to tighten up on the running game, and they were able to quiet down Dedrick Mills a little bit. And then they were starting to create a lot of noise in the Stamps backfield as well after VA went down. So I don't know if that kind of changed everything once he got hurt. But now Sean Lemon's suspension's done. So the Alouettes D-line, which I think has been playing very well, now they've got some decisions to make, and they might just get even better.
Well, I think like we talked about in the last show, it was pretty convenient how, the suspension was really only like 1 week because of how the games kind of came. But at the same time, and I know Sean Lemon has said that he's, stayed in game shape and all that stuff, but, being in actual game shape is different. And so I'm not sure if I was Montreal, I would throw him back in right away. I think you need to make sure that he can go. But I guess at the same time, you can dress him, and he's not going to be an every play kind of guy. He's going to be a rotational guy on second down, I assume, at least in the early going. So, if he's able to be the same he was before he got suspended, certainly a key piece for the Alouettes to get back on defense.
Dom Rhymes, the leading receiver for the Stamps, 5 catches, 89 yards. Eric Brooks also had 5 catches for 66 yards, while Dedrick Mills had 14 carries, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns. PJ Walker, by the way, 3 of 7, 20 yards. The leading receiver for the Alouettes, Tyler Sneed, 7 catches, 103 yards. Austin Mack had 65 yards. Cole Speaker had 45 yards and a touchdown. A couple tough drops, I think, for Speaker, and this one there too. But those Stampeders, 11 penalties, 121 yards there. The Alouettes had the ball for 34 minutes of this game, and they head back with a victory from Calgary. A big win for the Alouettes, who at this moment are tied with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Ticats currently have first in the East, by way of tiebreaker. The Alouettes, the Ticats, undefeated inside the division. But 2-5-2 teams. The next closest is 2-5. They're starting to create a little bit of distance there. But we'll get to why one team might be on the way up soon after we talk about the Saskatchewan Roughriders getting a 21-18 victory over the Edmonton Elks. The Elks sure made this one close in the fourth quarter. However, it was really just the D-line of the Riders overpowering that D or O-line of the Edmonton Elks. For that matter, the Elks D-line looked very good against the Rider O-line at times in this game as well. But a familiar sight for Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, seeing Cody Fajardo peeling himself off the turf 8 times in this one.
Yeah, it was certainly nice of the Riders to, give him that warm welcome and make him feel at home, just because all the times he's had to get himself off of that Mosaic Stadium turf in his career as a Rider, now as an Elk. It was great. It was good seeing lots of Rider fans actually wearing the Fajardo jersey, and he got a good little reception there at the beginning, and then he's just the next man on the end meet list, right? So tough game for him, but at the same time, near the end of the game, he made it seem like a really good game for himself.
Man, you look at those stats: 26 of 33, 346 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a winning stat line if you just look at that. he got a lot of yob yards or whatever, yards after beatdown. But just one thing I just kind of want to go off, and I don't want to make this a big thing, but as you said, both the D lines seem to overpower kind of both the O lines a little bit in this one, and there's been a lot of talk online about O-line, Canadian O-lines in particular, not being able to handle the defensive lines. And with the game as skewed as it is towards the offense right now, when you talk about just certain rules and penalties and all that, I think we need to just also give flowers to defensive lines and just the athletes and the stars that are on the defense, because they get paid too. And I just feel like there's been a lot of kind of shade thrown at O-line, but there hasn't been enough praise shown to the D-line in certain online discourse. But enough about that. Back to the game. So Justin Rankin, the starting running back for the Edmonton Elks, has 3 carries for 0 yards. So I get he had no yards in those 3 carries. But if he's having 3 carries, the defensive line has nothing. There's no guesswork. Nothing. They just pin their ears back. I will say it was the right side of the Elks O-line that seemed specifically to be struggling throughout the game. They were having a difficult time throughout the game, but the Elks, they were not. They did not keep the Rider defense guessing at all throughout this one.
They didn't, and it's not like the Riders were blowing the doors off of them and making them have to resort to passing only.
Right.
Like at the end of the first quarter, it was 4-1 for the Elks. When you have a team that has had statistically that such great success against the Riders at rushing the football, for them to completely abandon it as quick as they did, I just don't understand it. Javon Leake, 2 carries, 5 yards. I know that the Riders, defense has been lauded as one of the best, and against the run outside of playing Calgary, it's been pretty good when it comes to that. However, you cannot in this league be successful without establishing a run, in my opinion. And when you have a guy like Cody Fajardo who, he's going to take sacks, and there's this conspiracy theory or whatever going around that he takes more sacks to keep his his efficiency numbers up, so he doesn't throw intercept or incompletions.
Okay, some CFL greats are saying that, and I saw Nick Lewis saying that, and he said it when he was covering Rider games when Fajardo was a Rider. I don't think he's completely wrong. I'd say about a third of the sacks that Cody takes or took in this one, I don't think he necessarily had to take them. Get rid of the ball. It would save them a lot of yards, I think. It would a percentage off of the completion percentage, but I think that's a small price to pay when it comes to field position.
Yeah, I think I kind of misspoke when I said conspiracy theorist, because I knew it was a former player. I just couldn't remember which one. Stupid. But then I just ended up sounding stupid anyway, so that's for the course.
It's not what I'm trying to do.
No, I know. Hey, if I say something dumb, I want to learn. I want to be called. Okay, that's fine. But like, again, even though like a lot of those sacks happened in the second half. Like I know that some happened in the first half, but a lot of it happened in the second half. And the Riders weren't able to do anything on offense at all, kind of, until I'd say it was. I'm not looking at the play-by-play here, but midway through the second half, I think, or second quarter. Mm-hmm. So, just again, the fact that Maximic wasn't trying to run the ball is just kind of, it's just glaring to me as to why the Elks weren't able to really kind of run away with this, no pun intended, in the early half, because the Riders weren't playing good ball. They just weren't.
Yeah, they didn't really dominate this game at all. I think Edmonton's defense was also giving the Riders a tough time. AJ Ouellette had 15 carries for 62 yards, but that 15 carries, I think the Elks still needed to respect some sort of run game, or at least a willingness to try that. But then I also think that a football game can be like a boxing match. Those little run plays in the first quarter hurt a little bit extra in the fourth quarter and can go a long way. Although the Elks did win that fourth quarter, if we're just looking at that.
They did, but just exactly what you just said there. AJ Ouellette, he had 62 yards rushing, but he had the long one, 17 yards in that fourth quarter when the Riders were running the game out. Right. And so, to your point, that was when that quick little jab turned into a little bit of a knockout punch there. And that's what you need in this league. You need to be able to grind out games in the end when it's close. And but yeah, back to you.
It does seem like returns without Mario Alford are going to be a bit of an adventure for the Riders. And they were an adventure for him last year, but Dre McRae, he's credited with 2 fumbles. He didn't lose either of them, but man, this could be something to watch for the Riders going forward. Don't think teams aren't going to notice. But the game here from Sam Emelis, 6 catches, 113 yards. Let's be real. One of them was basically a running play. But the effort he put in on that play, he got hit at the 5-yard line, and he fought to hit that pylon and get that ball into the end zone. That was quite the effort from him being back into the lineup for the Riders.
For sure, back in the lineup, but taken out of the lineup, it seems too, because he was hit with and I'm not trying to make a big deal of this, but to me it seemed like one of those low hits on a vulnerable player, like you're trying to get rid of in this. And
he was like from behind, basically, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it was straight on.
Okay. I was thinking,
but there wasn't in the BC game. There was from behind.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
but they said they were trying to take that out of the game, and then there was no penalty called there. Like, it doesn't make a difference. It's just I don't want to see players getting hurt, so I don't want to see defensive players taking those shots. And if you don't call the penalties when they happen, they're going to keep taking those shots. But again, hopefully it's not severe and he's not out of the lineup for long, because Sam Ellis is quickly becoming one of the premier Canadian receivers in the league.
Well, and I guess I should circle back to one of the Dre McRae fumbles, because I don't know if you caught it afterwards, but it was challenged by Mark Killam so it's at the Saskatchewan 9-yard line. The replay looks to me like it was touched by Edmonton last before going out of bounds. I do think they kind of got screwed on that one.
I do too, and I just don't know, like, if because it wasn't forced, like the only thing that I can think of is that it bounced off of him, but it wasn't like he was doing a motion to try to knock it out.
It's true. It just went off his shoulder pad or helmet or something, like clearly as day to me.
For sure. So I'm wondering if that's the reason, but I haven't, like, I don't know. Again, though, in stadium, when I saw the replay, I kind of figured that the Riders got away with one there as well.
And that was a deflating moment in the game for the Elks because Saskatchewan gets that ball at their own 9-yard line, and they take it the length of the field, 101 yards. That one ended in a Keyshawn Johnson touchdown, and then the very next kick to McRae, he fumbles as well. Edmonton recovers it, and there's a no yards. So Edmonton shot themselves in the foot a lot with penalties here again. 11 penalties, 133 yards.
Yeah.
Man, like, there's a lot of moments in this game where the Edmonton could have and arguably should have walked away with the victory, but they didn't. At the very start of the fourth quarter, Cody Fajardo, Keon Julian Grant had a pretty bad drop, and then the very next play, 57 yards to the house. Yeah, so that pulled the Elks within 11, and then Cody Fajardo hit Stephen Dunbar for a 17-yard touchdown with 2 minutes to go, and then, like you said before, the Riders are able to basically run out the clock, and Edmonton gets the ball at their own 5-yard line with 20 seconds to go, and at that point the game was over. But nervous moments for the Riders, frustrating moments all throughout the game for the Edmonton Elks, but then the talk at the end of the game is like almost positive. I don't know about that. It's kind of a weird situation now. Are you sticking with Cody? Or, well, it's funny.
No.
Well, here's the thing.
Said it.
Oh, really? He did?
At the end of the game, Killam said Cody Fajardo is our starting quarterback.
Cody Fajardo is?
Yes.
Okay. So, here's the thing. When Trey's in there, he's a horrible quarterback. When Cody's in there, it's a bad team. Really? No, come on. No, like, doesn't that sound a little bit double standard to you?
Well, for sure it does. And I just don't understand it because, like, I understand. Okay, so I do understand how you have to decide one or the other. You can't just, like, it's really tough to make a 2-quarterback system actually work. But at the same time, we have 2 quarterbacks who do different things, and you can do change of pace with them. I know the one time when it actually did happen in a game, and the Elks won that game, so maybe it was good, but it didn't seem to us like it was smart for Killam to take Trey Ford out of the game when he was 9 for 9 or whatever. But if Cody's going to hold on to the ball for too long and take sacks, that's hurting your team. Trey Ford wasn't taking as many sacks. He was running around with the ball, trying to find people, but he's also throwing it away. And so I don't think he was taking as many sacks and thus hurting the field position as much. However, they have to make it a decision. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Killam's a rookie head coach. He's been in the league a long time, but he's going through some adversity early on, and hopefully he's able to figure it out. The Riders themselves also are going through adversity. They're 6-1, they're first place, but this is the second game in a row where they almost gave it away after they should have had it on lock. And so Corey Mace, as a second year head coach, needs to figure out why that's happening. So two teams in different opposite trajectories, but still issues are abound in both of them.
Yeah, the Riders sit atop the CFL right now at 6-1. Their lone loss coming against the Calgary Stampeders. Their next action will be in Montreal. Edmonton's next action home to Bo Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Saturday had the Toronto Argonauts beating the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 31-17. So they showed a stat during the broadcast. The last time the Bombers had lost by 20 plus points 2 weeks in a row, it was like 10 years since it last happened. Well, now they've lost 3 straight by double-digit scores after starting the season 3-0. Sheldon, they had a bye in there. I really thought they'd recover after the bye. That has not happened at all. The starting quarterback leaves, Zach Collaros, at halftime. There were, I have to double check here, I think 2 interceptions. One probably should have been caught. It was a tough one. It was high for Jarrah Stearns, and then it deflects off Wynton McManus's helmet, and it's intercepted. But these do count against his numbers. There was another interception that the rain, maybe it slipped out of his hand. It was a bad throw. And that one got eaten up by the DB. But overall, these Bombers on a 3-game losing streak and pretty convincing losses. It's strange times.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'm not sure. Like near the end of the first half, I don't think I was paying attention as much as I should have been. So like, did Zach actually get hurt, or did he? It wasn't where he was down and he needed to come out of the game. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if what's going to happen there, because again, like he had a concussion, or it looked like he had his bell rung the game before. So I'm hoping that didn't happen again, just because of what we know in the past of his concussion history. But at the same time, like, if maybe they're just trying to save face, like, you throw in a couple of picks, like, it's not your night. Let's shut it down. I don't know if that's what it was. But it looked like a very sloppy game to actually be playing football in. Like that one snap that like didn't happen and then happened and was
so like a double snap. Yeah.
that was bizarre. The pick off the top of McMahon's helmet, like you said, was just hilarious. I can't lie. It's just like it's kind of what we've been saying was happening for a couple of years, where we were thinking that the Winnipeg was finally kind of nearing the end of their little reign of dominance, with their players getting older and losing some coaches, etc. But they always showed that was not the case, and they were still there up until the Grey Cup game itself. And it's they got a lot of stuff to fix, and like you said, that the 3 losses by double digits, that was Mike O'Shea's first year coaching, I believe, when it happened last, right? So I think there's a lot of people who are calling for this to be the last year that Mike O'Shea is coaching, and I think that's a little bit of overreaction, a theater right now. And there's been some teams who have gotten rid of elite coaches, and then they've gone on to have second careers with another team and stayed there for a lot of years and championships. So if I was a Bomber fan, I wouldn't be wishing for that, I don't think. But something's happening there. And with the other, I know Calgary and with Saskatchewan having the records that they have, and BC, BC also looking like they can be a really good team one week and a not great team itself. And with the crossover definitely in place right now in the East, they need to figure it out.
There is something to be said about maybe coaches overstaying their welcome a little bit. I don't think we're there with O'Shea, but I think fans can get sick of it.
Yep.
But, I mean, do we need to listen to the fans all the time? Maybe. But, hey, the Bombers started last year 2-6, and then they shut out the BC Lions. So, because right now, although there were some very uncharacteristic things, you brought up the snap that was basically double snapped, so that got taken back. Yeah. There was we got to talk about Derek Sluka, by the way. This guy, he's always around turnovers. It's wild. So he forces one on Vaval. So then the Argos get the ball there, and then they kick a field goal. So it was only 9-3 Argos at that point, or whatever it was. And then the next drive that Winnipeg has, the snap gets fumbled. And then Toronto was having issues too, because Leyburn fumbles the ball. James Vaughters takes that one to the house. But then what happened is, I think, something very, very uncharacteristic of this Bomber team. So James Vaughters, he ends up getting called for roughing the passer. Oh no, it was number 38 person. He gets the roughing the passer. So that gave Toronto a free first down after Vaughters had sacked him. 2nd and 19 to take a roughing the passer and give them a free first down. Mm-hmm. And then a few plays later, DeVaris Daniels is in the end zone and the Argos have a lead. So it's just stuff we don't see from Winnipeg or haven't seen. And what's blowing my mind is that 3 or 4 weeks ago, that secondary, Jamal Parker, remember, he had the game of his life. Yeah. And the secondary looks completely lost. They can't. They seem like they can't stop anything. It seems like the guys in the front are still, for the most part, doing their job. But as soon as teams start passing on them, they look really lost right now.
Yeah, and you know, Nick Arbuckle hasn't been blowing the doors off this season at all, I would say, but he looked really good in this game, just even despite the weather and the slippery ball and losing some completions, 2 drops. He hit 22 for 31, 316 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like he had himself a great game, and he did everything that was needed to beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It was very impressive, actually.
And the Bomber defense just couldn't get off the field. The Argos were having really long drives, like, as the game went on. And Winnipeg was just stuck trying to defend it. The Argos had the ball for over 34 minutes. Usually that time of possession battle over the last half decade has been all Winnipeg. And definitely not in this one. They were just beat. They were just plain out beat. Arbuckle goes 22 of 31 with 2 touchdowns. Deontay McMahon, 8 carries, 34 yards. Dude gets hurt at the first play from scrimmage, and I'm like, he's on my fantasy team. He was able to come back into the game, but wasn't able to get much points there. Kalen Leyburn, 13 carries, 50 yards. So they're not running all over teams, although Nick Arbuckle put his head down at one point in this game. He wasn't afraid to get hit. But and then the fake punt from the Bombers in the second half, Sheehan gets stopped short. Like to me, it felt like, oh, this is a pretty good time to fake the punt. But it just didn't work. And when the Bombers aren't able to play in the lead like they're so good at doing, and run that clock and get Brady Oliveira going, because he's not playing bad either. He actually seemed pretty effective in this one. Over 6 yards a carry. 13 carries for 82 yards. He had 2 catches for 38 yards as well. And then now I start to see some of the receiving problems as well. It would have been a very tough catch for Wheatfall in the end zone, but, he goes down, elbows hit. So that was an opportunity for the Bombers there. But Dalton Schoen goes down. Cody Case comes in here, and then on a third down play, he's wide open and drops the ball. That was a really tough moment for the Bombers. But, Zach leaves the game. We'll see what his status is going forward. 5 of 10, 79 yards. Chris Streveler, 11 of 18, 148 yards and a touchdown. Brought him within, I guess, 2 scores at the end of the game. But it does feel like Toronto and Montreal is Winnipeg's Achilles heel a little bit. And that's no different here, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and you're and I know some of these were later in the game when they were trying to just go for it on third down, but 7 turnovers. You're not going to win it. You're not going to win a game in the CFL when you have 7 turnovers. And yeah, you can blame the weather all you want with the slippery ball, but the Argos only had 1 turnover. So it just wasn't Winnipeg's night, no matter how you say it. So they have to go back to the drawing board because if they're not I guess lucky, if BC's able to kind of leapfrog them here, and if Toronto is able to build on this, and one thing we talked about on this last podcast was about Chad Kelly and the fact that he wasn't put on the 6th game, and now he has actually been put on the 6th game. So
what does that tell you?
It tells us we don't know anything. And I do want to just say one thing. We heard after recording that there may have been a little bit, there is a family situation going on with, I believe his sister had a child who's not doing well. And so obviously that's important. And so if that's what he's going down to Buffalo and he was away from practice, or that's fine. I'm completely fine with that. But it just doesn't make sense to now put him on the 6th game unless he's going to be at least missing 4 or 5 of those games to make it worth putting him on the 6th game. I know you can pull him off and get him back in there sooner, and I guess they've already wasted a lot of money on the cap anyway for not having him on the 6th game. So very interesting and, in my mind, stupid management of the salary cap in this situation. But we're not getting many answers. We're getting a lot of vague stuff out of Dinwiddie, and even Pinball made a statement after too. So we need to kind of figure out what's happening. And obviously I don't think it's a hangnail that's going to keep him out for another 6 weeks. So it has to be either something to do with his leg, the break, not having enough muscle after the break, and healing, not ready to, I don't know what's going on. He was at least there. He was at the game. So that's a positive sign, I guess, for Argo fans.
Looked like he had a black eye, too.
It kind of did.
His right eye.
And I know...
But this means you can't practice now, right?
You can't practice until the last week, yeah.
Because he was practicing this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to... There was rumors we weren't going to see him until October, right? There was this online rumor, and now it seems to be coming true.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why was he not 6 games first and then 6 gamed again? Because... Exactly. It'll be very interesting to see what happens at the end of the year with the... if Toronto's over the cap because of this... mistake, I guess.
Oh, that would be brutal. That would be brutal if they were. Yep. Say, you mentioned Winnipeg 7 turnovers. The last one was a Brady Oliveira fumble, forced by Cam Judge, recovered by Derek Sluka. This guy is just making plays. He forced a fumble in this one. He recovered a fumble in this one. He's taken 2 touchdowns to the house this season. He's all over the place.
Yeah, he's... Again, don't want to jinx him here, but he could be the front runner for the East Rookie of the Year. Him versus Alfred in the finals, maybe. Who knows?
Hey, that'd be pretty.
If Alfred can get back on the field quick.
Yeah, I'd be down with that battle. The leading receiver, and we didn't even talk about him, was DeMonte Coxey. 6 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown. He hadn't had a 100-yard game this year. Here he gets it. I mean, it was quite the mismatch. Terrell Bonds is 5'8", 5'9", and Coxie's 6'3". So it's almost not fair, but it's what happened. It was a 33-yard touchdown right off the bat to him in the first quarter for the Argos that got them going. So it was his first 100-yard game of the season. It will not be his last. The leading receiver for the Bombers was actually Nick Dembski. One catch and a beautiful catch. I'm wrong. Nick Dembski had a 46-yard catch. So he keeps his reception streak alive. Jarrett Stearns was the leading receiver. 4 catches, 72 yards, and that touchdown from Chris Streveler in the fourth quarter. The final game of the week took us to Vancouver, where the Hamilton Tiger Cats ended up heading back home with a victory, 37-33. The final for the Ticats at halftime. It was 20-13 BC. We thought this would be a game that would have a lot of points. It hit the over. It was entertaining from start to finish.
Yeah, it was a great game. We had everything. We had, let's just talk about right off the hop. The best interception / catch, I think.
Wow.
I've ever seen. Like, it was intense. Like, just the wow. Like,
so I opened up my X. And it was like 30 tweets in a row just talking about the interception by Robert Carter Jr. of the BC Lions.
Just for him to be able to have the control to grab the ball, one hand, come over, make sure you secure it while hitting the ground, jumping over top of the receiver. Like, it was... That's, I think it's on the pick'em on the Game Zone on CFL, they have the pick between the plays, right? Like, that's going to be on there for the entire rest of the season, because there's not going to be a play that's going to be better than that. Like, unreal. Play of the game, play of the year, play of the decade, maybe play of the century. It was crazy. It was
absolutely ridiculous. And they actually showed a highlight of when he went to Robert Morris. He made like almost an identical interception in college.
Yeah.
But to rob the Ticats and Brendan O'Leary Orange of a touchdown there, what a play. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be watching that highlight for a long, long time. Everybody that saw it is... We're still buzzing about it right now. And then the Lions are saying, we had that play and we still lost. We still lost.
Well, they lost because, according to Nathan Rourke, which I'm not going to say he's wrong, but according to Nathan Rourke, and on that last drive there on second down, he thought it was a free play because it looked like the Ticat went offside. And to be honest, it did. I don't know how it wasn't a call. And at the same time, in the 2 minutes, in the 3 minutes, that's what the command center is supposed to do. If there's a clear and obvious call that's missed or wrong, they're supposed to fix it. So I don't know why they didn't fix it. But at the same time, if you're a starting quarterback in this league, you can't take plays like that for granted. You can't think you have a free play and then just dump it. Because he even said, I saw McInnes, but I thought it was a free play, and I did. If you saw McInnes open, throw the damn ball.
Well, if you have the free play, take the shot, right?
No kidding, yeah. So I just don't understand that logic. I understand the frustration, because I'm sure there's a lot of BC fans. There's a lot of all kinds of fans that are upset. I'm happy. I won money. I have Hamilton, so I'm fine with it. But even like the pass interference, the accidental pass interference on the last drive too, I don't know where I kind of stand on accidental pass interference, because like, how can you penalize something that's accidental? But at the same time,
so when I watched the replay, when the receivers, so Tim White is running, his foot did hit Ben Haladic's leg and then bumped into his own foot and he fell.
Yeah.
Is that, like you said, Is that
like
a penalty?
I understand that the receiver didn't have a chance to catch the ball, but it wasn't, a penalty is supposed to be for something that's done illegally. Like, so I think in situations like that, maybe instead of it being like a pet, because in where, like, I know they were so close to the field, it gave them an extra down they didn't need, but it gave them an extra down and moved the ball 1 yard closer. But if that was another part of the field, it would have given them a first down regardless. So if that's the case, maybe if there's accidental pass interference, maybe you just do a replay of the down. You don't penalize the other team for doing it. I don't know. But another thing I kind of want to talk about before we get into this recap here is, so there was a challenge that BC made for pass interference that got overturned, and so they did get pass interference.
I didn't see
How?
anything on that.
Well, I saw a slight little tug of the arm. However, at the end of the third quarter, Kenny Lawler had, a play on the goal line, which could have been a touchdown, where I saw more grabbing.
That looked like more of an interference from Gary Peters. I agree.
Yeah, and Milanovic apparently was talking about throwing a challenge flag, but then he didn't. So, uh, you know, I just that one that got overturned, I thought was quite ticky tack, and so maybe football gods are
See, I
getting the
thought that
wrong
was a makeup,
edge.
and Suter mentioned it on the broadcast, that illegal block that on
Yeah,
Messam of the Lions.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
seemed like it kind of all evened out at the end.
yeah, yeah,
Although maybe you could argue the Rourke having the free play kind of thing, because that one on the goal line, it's not like Hamilton went into QB sneak. I don't even think they changed the play. They stayed in the shotgun. They made
yeah.
the pass to Keandre Smith for the go-ahead touchdown with 20 seconds to go.
Hmm.
The reason that the Lions lost is because they rushed three for the entire drive. They locked down Kenny Lawler, and they allowed the Ticats to hit Greg Bell and Keandre Smith all drive long
Yeah.
for 87 yards. But that was masterful from Bo Levi Mitchell, who still wants to show the young QBs in the league that he knows a thing or two.
Yeah, and we've said it so many times. Everyone has said it. When you double cover Kenny Lawler on Hamilton, you're leaving open really good receivers, and that Bo Levi, if he has time, he's going to be able to find those receivers. And when you go to a prevent zone defense where you only rush three, like you said, but you're still double covering Kenny Lawler, this is exactly what's going to happen. So other defensive coordinators, you need to see what happens here, and if you're in a similar situation, you need to change it up, because it wasn't working. It certainly wasn't junk. It wasn't garbage. Hamilton drove the field. They used the clock perfectly. Yeah, they may have got a little bit of an extra help there at the end, but like you said, it didn't really matter. And they were able to go into BC, take that big long trip, and make it a perfect week for the Riders. That's one thing I forgot to talk about in the Rider game. I can't remember the last time that the Riders actually won a game and all other Western teams lost a game. I'm sure it's been a long time. I might ask
Keandre
Rob
Smith
Sandstone. We'll
had
see.
some words to say about the West Division too, to the TSN cameras, saying, "The East is weak? Nah, the West is weak. Everybody lost except Saskatchewan." And I think that maybe OCs have a thing to learn about what Hamilton was doing at that last drive of the... I know in the CFL you got 3 downs, so you feel like you need yards. You need those deep yards. But how many of these quarterbacks... We always talk about protection and all of that. Every route is, 25 yards down the field, and there's none of that underneath stuff for them to make a completion on. So then you get Cody Fajardo getting sacked 8 times, and we're talking about how bad the O-line is. So look at that final drive from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and learn. I would have to say that the role that they are on right now is pretty wild. Although I'm just looking ahead on the calendar, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I will pick an upset special. Although, as an Elks season ticket holder, I have watched the Ticats come to town and smash the Elks several times, no matter how bad the Ticats are too. However, the Ticats on the West Coast, then they got to travel all the way home and then back to Edmonton on Saturday. A slight short week, but Edmonton's got an extra day of preparation there at home. So we'll see how the Ticats react to all that travel right off the bat here. But one good thing, while there were a few good things for the Lions here, it was a rough one for them. They forced a fumble, recovered it on Hamilton's first drive, and then James Butler is in the end zone for a touchdown a few plays later. The Lions were taking advantage of the turnovers that the Ticats were making. But it just... It just wasn't enough. They were able to run the ball well. James Butler had over 7 yards a carry, 16 carries, 115 yards. However, over 80 of those came in the first half. So it slowed down with James Butler as the game went on. And I don't know if that's on the Lions or it's a testament to the Ticats being able to make some adjustments there. And they also got away from Keon Hatcher, too, who was doing very well early on. He had 5 catches, 117 yards for the BC Lions, but I think they had 17 points off of turnovers. And normally, when you're able to do that, you're going to win the game. But the Ticats tightened down in the fourth quarter, and they pulled this one out.
Yeah, it's kind of just like Bo Levi just decided to take over the game, and it was over. Like, excuse me, it was magical. Like this was a perfect. If you love the CFL, you love this game and how it ended.
Well, and if you're a Lions fan, I could see how you could be very frustrated here. They were up 14-3 in the first quarter, and they were also up 33-23. So they had two double digit leads in this one, and they just all melted away. Like when Mazzoli pushed that one in with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter to put them up 10, I thought, hey, these Lions are going to take this game home. I thought I was going to have a 1-3 week at Pick'em, and then Bo turns it on. He's even running the ball. He sees Rourke doing it, and Bo says, hey, I can run as well. There was a hit that he took that I thought, what are you doing, Bo? 4 carries, 23 yards for Bo Levi Mitchell. Nathan Rourke also had 4 carries. He had 34 yards on the ground. It's exciting, but you also get a little bit nervous when you see the QBs carrying the ball.
Oh, for sure. And it just like how BC was able to start the game with James Butler. His mom was having a great time watching or something. I love seeing that. But like you said, whatever it was, if Hamilton was able to take that away or whatever, but they bookended the game with touchdowns. But in the middle quarters, when you're not scoring touchdowns, that's when you're kind of letting the Ticats stay in there, and then kind of just fell apart in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Mazzoli pushes the ball in to put the Lions up 10, and then that next drive, Bo Levi Mitchell and the Ticats get it, and Brendan O'Leary-Orange gets that 44-yard touchdown. He got robbed of a touchdown pass earlier in the game, wasn't robbed on that one. The Lions follow that up with a very costly 2-and-out Ticats ball, and then the drive. 14 plays, 87 yards. Keandre Smith with the game-winning touchdown, and it was great CFL football from front to back. Keandre Smith, 14 catches, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Canadian receiver. I know you had Kenny the King on your fantasy roster. 2 catches, 29 yards. I had Tim White, 6 catches, 86 yards. But those 2 guys, even though they're not scoring the touchdowns, what did they do for a Keandre Smith, for a Brendan O'Leary Orange to get those touchdowns and ultimately win the game for the Black and Gold?
Yeah, all I can picture in my head is Kenny Lawler with it should have been the Dolph Ziggler should have been me if for Keandre Smith, because I'm just sitting there and I don't know what happened. The first couple weeks of fantasy, I was doing pretty good, and now, I need to figure this out. But great game by Keandre Smith, and these Ticats are just going to continue to make teams pay for, because what are they going to double cover him next week, and then Tim White's going to go off even more, and then they're going to they have all these options, and when the Lions, I mean the Ticats O-line are able to give Bo Levi Mitchell time, he is going to find these receivers. Yeah,
there were times when it seemed like Bo could knit a scarf in the pocket when they were rushing 3. And that Ticats O-line, they're pretty good. They're pretty strong. And Bo had all the time in the world. That's the last quarterback that you want to give all that time to. And he just picked them apart up and down the field because there were at times, like in the first quarter, the fourth quarter, but the middle parts of the game, those secondaries kind of settled down. They were making life difficult for the receivers and the quarterbacks. And I know there were 70 points scored, so that's why this game kind of seemed to have everything. There were defensive plays. There were plays all over the place. So I am looking at the fantasy standings for our patron league because somebody's going to be winning a CFL jersey at the end of the season. It's Avi still in first place, 234.7 points through 2 weeks. I dropped to 5th with 200.
Poor guy.
With 200.7 points. I was messing around with Bo/Rourke. My fantasy lineup would have been way different if I just put Bo in because he had the touchdowns. 81.7 points was my week. Back to the drawing board for me as well. Did you beat me or no?
I don't think so. I only had 75 points.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'm in last place. I'm trying to pull it up, but
I also love Seven McGee's story because his name is Seven because he was the 7th kid. The first boy with 6 sisters, and his number is 77. How do you not cheer for that?
7 is my number, so I love it.
It's your number?
Well, born March 7th, so yeah, It's kind of always been my number.
Okay. Keon Hatcher, the leading receiver for the Lions. Justin McInnes, still quiet. 2 catches, 23 yards. I thought maybe he would start to come back here, but not quite yet. And then we already gave the flowers to Keandre Smith. Greg Bell for the Cats, 11 carries, 56 yards. And Bo Levi Mitchell, 34 of 41, 389 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the best interception we will probably see for all of 2025. So that puts the Ticats on top of the CFL's Eastern Division. The Riders are on top of the CFL's West Division. The Ticats are in Edmonton to play the Elks on Saturday. And the BC Lions are going to be off for Week 9 of the 2025 CFL season. I hope you enjoyed this week of football. Coming up, we've got Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday doubleheader for a long weekend, a sorely needed long weekend. I'm Travis Currah. He is Sheldon Jones. You can rate, review, and subscribe to Two and Out on your favorite podcatcher. Check us out on YouTube and drop a comment there on our ever-growing community, nearing 1,200 subscribers now. We'll talk to you to get you ready for week 9 of the CFL season.
The Tuned Out CFL podcast is written, produced, and hosted by Travis Currah and co-hosted by Sheldon Jones. Subscribe to Tuned Out on all major podcast platforms and YouTube to keep up to date with future shows.